Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Monday morning minutes for the week. I hope that you are enjoying this incredible spring like weather right here in the middle of winter. I'll take it. I hope you'll take it. The sun is shining. It's warm. It's going to get close to 60 degrees today. It is fantastic. Couple of announcements. If you would like to come to Meet in the Middle this Wednesday, uh, meal is at 5, and then, of course, is study, adult Bible study, and kids' activities at 6. And we will be studying the book of Jude. 25 verses in the New Testament, not very long, right before the book of Revelation if you want to read it before you come on Wednesday evening. But if you've never tried Meet in the Middle before, if you've never come and you're kind of wondering what it's all about, you could come this Wednesday evening and we should have a standalone study where we study an entire book of the Bible. And then you can decide whether you like it or not, and you're not committed to anything long term. So we would love to have you come. If you haven't signed up for the meal or not sure about that part, you can always just come at 6 for the study versus 5 for the meal and 6 for the study. Second announcement, of course, is that a week from this Wednesday, February the 14th, I know it's Valentine's Day, but we will have our Ash Wednesday service. So we will have our normal meal at 5, and then we'll have our Ash Wednesday service at 6. And that will take place in no adult Bible study, no kids' activities or youth activities on February 14th, because we will all be in the sanctuary together for our Ash Wednesday service. So I hope that you are looking forward to the Super Bowl on Sunday. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I know that people who aren't football fans will get together for a Super Bowl party. It's just a really good excuse to watch the commercials, eat pizza, wings, drink Mountain Dew, whatever it might be, and just enjoy a game. Even if you couldn't care less about the game, it's kind of one of those just excuses to get together. But we are a society that loves sports to, well, honestly, almost to a religious level if we're not careful. We love sports. A lot of people like to stay in shape. You want to, if you're young and if you're playing baseball, football, volleyball, running, cross country, track, whatever it might be, you've got to train and you've got to train and you've got to train. And so few will make it to a professional level of sports, but it does keep us in shape. It does help keep us going. But there's another training that we should be very much focused on. And Paul writes to Timothy in chapter 4, starting with verse 8. He says this to his young pastor in training. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise both for the present life and the life to come. This is a trustworthy saying that deserves full acceptance. Let's read that again. It's such a poignant verse, especially for a society that is so in love with sports. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. I'll think about that for a moment. And I try to stay in shape. If I'm not sick, I usually run 3 times a week, get in anywhere between 12 and 13 miles a week, right? Keep the heart healthy, keep the blood work good when you go to the doctor's office. Just trying to maintain this body that God has given. But it's got some value, says Paul. That's not the only training you should be focused on. Godliness, he says, has value for all things, both for this life and the life to come, which is such an interesting thought. Do you realize, and sometimes I don't know if we really think about it, that living a godly life now also prepares us for heaven? You can't be in God's presence without godliness. I thank you, Jesus, for washing us clean of all of our ungodliness. Thank you that when we're in the resurrection, or that when we're in heaven in God's presence, He will take away all of our ungodly desires that kind of stick around with us right now, which is why we need to train ourselves in godliness, as Paul writes here in 1 Timothy chapter 4. But when we are in this next life, when we've passed from this life into the next one, that godliness will follow us. Physical training won't matter. We'll have resurrected, glorified bodies that never get sick, that never break down. I'm assuming in heaven we could go out and run a marathon today if we wanted to, although it would take months of training to do that now in this life. But such an interesting thought, especially in a culture that is so focused on sports, and we enjoy sports, and we'll see some phenomenal athletes on Sunday that have been rigorous in their physical training, that have just beat their bodies and exercised and lifted weights and done all of the things that they need to do to compete at the highest level, which is of some value, says Paul. But if you want real value, train yourself in godliness, both for this life and the life to come. Hope y'all are doing well. We will see you on Wednesday night, God willing, and next Sunday, and pray that you have a blessed week. All right, bye-bye.